هذه ممكن أهم نقطة تلخص لك أهم نقطة مشتركة بين الشخصيات اللي في A Doll's House وبين الشخصيات اللي في Wuthering Heights.
Loyalty between like them, like Nora and Catherine, both are loyal. Like Nora is loyal to Thorvald, but even Catherine is faithless when even she married Edgar.
Maybe let's take a look. Let's see if we can find some similarities. Okay, so here we've got Wuthering Heights. Let's see some of the main ideas, some of the themes of Wuthering Heights, and let's take a look at the themes of A Doll's House. Okay, so these are some of the themes of A Doll's House, right? So the first thing is the sacrificial role of women. Remember, because in Doll's House, the position of women is always weaker than the men. Because at that time, the time that the writer wrote this play, you know, this was a very long time ago, about 150 years ago. So this is the first theme, that women are always lower class. Okay, هذا الثيم الأول في Doll's House. Another one is parental and filial obligations. So here, when we say parental and filial obligation, it means the relationship of sons to parents and sisters to brothers and brothers to sisters, their responsibilities and obligations in a way. And in Doll's House, there's the problem that Krogstad, Dr. Rank, do you remember Dr. Rank who died in the play?
Yes.
He died because of a genetic or an inherited disease that came from his father.
Yeah, they mentioned.
Yeah, so there's also the relationship between parents and it's also the issue of lying, and that if you lie, this will spread sickness. Do you get the idea? Mm-hmm. So there was, if you remember when Nora left her husband because she lied and she didn't want to affect her children or to spread this disease to her children. So in a way, immorality or bad behavior or bad manners can be transmitted, or it can show on the body as illness. Do you get the idea?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what immorality means? Immorality.
More like rebellion.
Moral اللي هو زي ما تقول سوء الأخلاق أو سوء يعني غياب الأخلاق أو غياب This is the meaning. So this can become a physical disease, and it can be passed on here. Can you see this? So it's a parent's immorality can be passed on to his or her children like a disease. مش احنا نقولوا في الليبي نقولوا بالعربي يعني يقولوا هذا الولد من هذا الشبل من ذاك الأسد مثلا, like father like son. Have you heard of this saying, like father like son? So if the father is good, the children are good. If the father is bad, the children are bad. Some people believe this is true. You can argue that this is not true, but in A Doll's House, this is true. Okay, and then the problem of appearances. In A Doll's House, there's a lot of talk about appearance, that what appears on the outside isn't what's in the inside. Do you get the idea? Because Nora on the outside looks like a silly girl, immature, irresponsible. She knows nothing. Do you get the idea? This is her appearance on the outside, Nora. But on the inside, she's strong, she's independent. You know, she left her husband at the end. She's brave. Do you get the idea? So appearances is another important theme. So this is another theme. We're still talking about The Doll's House, by the way. Another theme in A Doll's House is instability, blah, blah, blah. Okay, let's take a look at Wuthering Heights. Let's see some important themes here. So we've got a love that never changes. So we've got problems with relationships, destructiveness of love. Okay. Remember, this is about Catherine and Heathcliff's relationship. Remember that we discussed their relationship. They had a problem that it was too strange in a way, because it's more of obsession than a real relationship. Do you get the idea? They
Yes.
they see themselves as mirror images, like twins. So in a way, and because they were raised together, remember that Heathcliff was adopted by Catherine's father, Mr. Earnshaw. Do you remember? So this means he grew up as a child with Catherine. So in a way, she's a bit like a stepsister. Do you get the idea? So they have a weird relationship. I don't know. They both love each other, but later on, remember when Catherine left Heathcliff because she wanted a higher position, and she went on to live to marry Linton. شنو اسمه هو? Edgar. Do you remember? So in reality, she never stayed with Heathcliff. So this point, we can't match it with a doll's house. You get the idea? يعني ما عندهاش مقابل نفس العلاقة في doll's house. هذه نقطة، هذا theme node. لكن خلينا نستمر. Let's look. Maybe you can find something else. هذه توا. This one, I think we can find it in both A Doll's House and Wuthering Heights. موضوع social class. Because in A Doll's House, the position of Nora and her husband Torvald, they are from kind of the middle class. They're not very rich, but they have a maid and they're living in a good class, kind of in the middle. Do you get the idea? And the same thing in the story of Wuthering Heights. The characters are also living kind of in the middle class. They call them the landed gentry. So we can say that some of the struggles، لو انت تو مثلا بتدري على الحاجات الكومن بين الزوز، بين الكاركترز اللي في A Doll's House وبين الكاركترز اللي في Wuthering Heights. اوكي. لو بنتكلم على الحاجات المشتركة، نقدر نقول ان المين كاركترز اللي هم في A Doll's House اللي هي نورا ورجلها تورفالد، these are from kind of middle class. But الشخصيات الثانية اللي في A Doll's House اللي هو زي كروكستاد وزي Mrs. Lint. Do you remember Nora's friend الفقيرة? She's in a lower class. Do you get the idea? Christine, yes. هي لقبها Lint. Christine Lint بالضبط. So Christine is from a lower class than Nora and Torvald. هم مش معناها Nora and Torvald أغنياء، ولكن kind of middle. They're doing okay. نفس القصة في Wuthering Heights. الحالة الاجتماعية متاع الأرنشا واللينتون فاميلي يعتبروا فيهم هم upper middle class اللي يقولوا لهم gentry. Do you get the idea? يعني هادو اللي تحت الارستقراcy على طول، تحت اللي هم الارستقراطs. So it means they had servants, they have large estates. لكن شنو عندهم؟ هي السر كلها في الكلمة هذه هي. Let me underline it. So this thing here، هذه ممكن أهم نقطة تلخص لك أهم نقطة مشتركة بين الشخصيات اللي في A Doll's House وبين الشخصيات اللي في Wuthering Heights.
What is it?
Fragile social position.
What does this mean?
It means يعني موقعهم الاجتماعي في السلم الاجتماعي. It means it's not fixed, it's not strong. It means any mistake, they can easily become poor. They can easily become working class and servants. Do you get the idea? So for example,
both.
yes, both على سبلة. موقعهم يعني أي خطأ، أي bad reputation. هذا ليش Torvald, if you remember, he was very scared when he learned that Nora.
So the both texts, the characters are in what you said?
Yeah, they're both worried about their social position. They're both worried about what society thinks of them. They're both worried about what will happen to them. Do you get the idea? يعني لأن حالتهم الاجتماعية جاية زوز يا دوبك فوق الفقر يعني. It's very easy to lose this position for both characters. That's why Catherine didn't want في Wuthering Heights. Catherine ما
their social position or their position?
Social position. Social class متاعهم. Because at that time, middle class ما كانش زي توا ثابت middle class. Now, for example, in Libya, if you have an okay job, if you have an okay house, an okay car, you're middle class. It means you're not hungry, you have a good phone, you have a good computer, you have the basics, you have everything. Maybe not expensive things, but عندك كل شيء يعني. You're not going to lose this easily in today's world. But at that time, المنظومة كانت أصعب. Sorry?
Maybe it's easy war.
Yeah, because there's war, there's disease, there's reputation. For example, like Torvald, because if people knew that Torvald's wife broke the law and forged her father's, do you remember when she forged her father's signature? That's why Torvald was very upset. شلون في الأخير بحها قال ما ليش علاقة. That's why she left him. هي علاش سيبته لما حكيت له شنو صار فدار قالها ليش علاقة. Because he wants to protect his reputation. Because he just got his job in the bank. If you remember, do you remember when Torvald got a job in the bank? So this means his whole life depends on this job at the bank. If he loses it, he becomes lower class and he'll probably be thrown on the street. So that's why they have a very fragile position. The same thing with the characters of اللي هم في Wuthering Heights.
So the both texts, like the characters are worried their social position.
Yes.
Like they put their social position above their love.
In a way, yes. In a way, you're right. صح. Because Torvald from A Doll's House, he chose his social reputation above the love of his wife. Do you get the idea? Even his marriage was just appearance. قدام الناس. أنا married لمرأة جنينة اسمها Nora. And the moment that Nora made a mistake, he told her, I've got nothing to do with this. You brought shame on us. And she discovered that her relationship with Torvald is just an appearance. He doesn't really love her. He's just interested in his reputation. And in a way, اللي درتها Catherine في Heathcliff نفس القصة. Because in the beginning of the story, I love him. But then when she got a chance to marry Edgar Linton, اللي هو حالة أحسن شوية منهم. رغم أنها تم زوز في نفس الكلاس. أدوك أحسن شوية. She left Heathcliff and married Edgar for social status. Do you get the idea?